Okay, this video, oh, excuse me, can't even start. This video is about monster models. I named this monster model. It's only 17.8 megabyte. Now I've seen these 30, 50, 80 megabyte models. I guess you can save large models on the cloud these days. But I've noticed more and more of a disease. These monster models are getting really slow. And this video is going to be about how to make your models a little more, whatever we want to call it, work faster. I don't really care about the size, but it's this slowness, it's this overdoing the crap that makes you crazy. And so I'm gonna finally get back. You think I haven't made any video about a UDF for a month or so. I gotta make one. I'm supposed to show my picture, but it's late at night and I look like a wreck. So okay, I'm not gonna do it right now. Now, here in this monster model. Now this isn't all that gigantic of project. We got a map, we got a financial statement, and we got this debt with no refinancing. We've got some semi-annual, some output, some construction, and this sheet I think has 1,000 lines and some. Oh my gosh, look at all. Sorry, I shouldn't yell. Okay, and I ran this kind of model on it, this table of contents on this model, and we've got a separate solver and that. Now, when you run this model, it takes an enormous amount of time. I put my Elvis picture here, and everything else. I can't get this file size to work. I'm working on this. I promise nobody uses my stuff anyway. Now I'm going to skip past all of this, and we're going to go and show you the progress for these UDF. Now, I've talked about this a little bit, but I can't remember where I stopped. What you do, and we're gonna make a webinar about this and do a whole lot of other stuff about it. But you can take a really big model like this and get it down to some debt issues. You have multiple debt issues. And this time we've really worked on this and made different sorts of debt issues for senior debt, for shareholder loans, for VAT issues, and all of that. And then we've got some development fees and some VAT and some income tax. And then we've got all these options. We've got how many iterations you're going to use and all these options for looking at different things. Now, this is not a video. Boo! I gotta introduce it a little bit. Maybe I'll have to make an introductory little piece. This is much more of a video about, number one, just summarizing, just illustrating this UDF. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm sorry. I've been told that I'm going senile and I forget my keys too much and all this stuff. But, here's what I'm going to show you what you can do with this UDF. And then I'm going to show you how to make a UDF out of a goal seek. And we're going to show you how to do one of the most complicated things in project finance modeling, which is having multiple debt issues with curved sculpting, not flat, boring DSCRs that go down and are artistic and everything else. So I'm going to try to do that fairly quickly without blabbing too much, because I've also got in trouble for blabbering on too much. Now, so here's what you do. You just to briefly kind of give a general idea, you put some debt issue options in. You put characteristics of the debt in. Where in the heck is here, up here, you put the CapEx that's not circular, non-circular CapEx. In this case, pre-COD revenues. You can see that this has kind of got the monster stuff in it. Okay, and then, but we boil it all down here, and then you got some of the interest rates, and then with each debt issue, you can define it as a debt issue. You're going to sculpt or non-sculpt, and I want to show you just the end result. And here's the end result. It's like a gigantic, oh my gosh, it's like a gigantic sum function. You see up here it says circular resolution. This is one little function, and this one little function goes through all of that stuff. And it even has, look at this, down here, we drill down and drill down. We have some summary stuff, and then here is the big deal. You can change all of this. Now, you're going to tell me right now, you're going to tell me, holy crap. This monster model, and the people are so proud of themselves. Oh, I can model anything. Let's just add a zillion lines, and let's put a line here, a line here. Oh my gosh, my hands are moving like crazy. I'm glad I'm not recording myself. I need to record the dog I'm watching. I don't have my dog. Now, you'll see that later. Okay, so we can put in all this stuff in here, and you're saying where I left off before I interrupted myself. Oh my God. You're going to say, you made it even worse. You made the monster model a double monster, horrible monster model. Oh no. Okay. Well, the answer is I tried to show you we didn't. And here, once you have this, and you can look, oh, I didn't kind of finish what I was doing. This has a whole detail on exactly how you're sculpting, and oh my gosh, I gotta run and all of this crap will show you how to operate it. And the real issue here, the real issue here is that this can realistically be done. And I had to format this, and my colors might be all screwed up. I didn't even use the generic macros thing for these colors. We can look, for example, and you can add in all sorts of fees on the LC standby equity, the withholding taxes, you pay some advisory fees. What else do we have in here? MEGA, PRI, shareholder loan commitment fees. My God, why the bank would allow that to be included in the project cost. Other fees, whatever, pre-COD cash flow, VAT. Oh, VAT's obviously a pain, a real pain. Just a minute. What the heck happened? Okay, now while I'm doing this one more time, okay, now I want to show you the big deal about this. Okay, I don't know why that did I not just, I thought I just did that. Okay, then once you have this, and you can create any of these reports, you can add in all your variables, and it's I'm not going to say it's really easy, but it's not that bad. Okay, so once you've done this, then, let's calm down. You get a summary report. A beautiful little summary report. You get the total debt draws. You get the total IDC. You get everything that's a circular reference. You get the repayments of the debt, and you get the repayments of the multiple debt issues, and you can plop these in. You can plop these into your model and just put a fixed repayment in here and let this tool do all the work. Now you can say, oh, I'm so good, I don't need that. Well, let's see. Let's see if you really don't need it. Let's start. Let's say you want some fixed debt. Okay, and then and look at this. Now it took a minute. Okay, it took a minute, and then we have fixed debt of this much, and then that gives IDC. I just put a little graph here. I go crazy saying, why in the heck do you have to make a zillion graphs? This, for me as a banker, I can see the tail, I can see the DSCR, I can do all of that. But then, if we have this, we might want to say, okay, what happens if you run this with a minimum DSCR? And what that means is the DSCR is smaller and you repay the debt early. And you can say that's about the stupidest thing to ever do in the world. But what if you refinance the debt here, mister? And what if you make a new refinancing here? That can actually be a better option. So we should have that. And the second option might be to just have a fixed debt thing. And you can say, oh, I could have done that. Yeah, I could have modeled the LLCR with the taxes, with the NOLs, and put my circular references. Good. It would have taken a long time. The IDC always changes, and all the whole resolution of all the circular references here. Okay. All right. Well, okay, that's not finished. And then, I just realized I'm going to have to make a second video. I can't just blabber on so long. This says, what happens if we have a curve sculpting, and that curve sculpting eventually gets to the DSCR and we allow higher dividends here? How cool is that? And maybe that's a better option. And if you try to put that stuff in your model, I assure you, it's going to be a pain. And frankly, I still have one thing to do, and that's why I'm making this video and another video. So I'm going to put it back to this, and then I'm going to say, no. Let's put a second debt issue in. Let's put a debt to capital debt issue in. So let's fix the debt to capital at 80%. And you can say, no, let's put 75% in. Okay. And you can imagine, well, you might not have to imagine, in these monster models, those copy and paste, blah, 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 they have pretty, the code isn't that bad. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. I hope it's changing. Yeah, it's changing over here. And then I can say, no, if we do that, then we start to put this. And then we can say, let's wait. Now, each time I'm doing this, I'm getting a little test here. Oh, don't worry about that second false. I got to fix that. It's perfect. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Please, okay? I'm trying here. Oh, I can imagine you saying, turning off the video. He's blabbering on about this stupid stuff again. Okay? With these monster models, there's got to be a better way. There's just got to be a better way. It's not good enough. It's not good enough to get proud of yourself. I can make a gigantic model. I can save it on the cloud. It's gigantic. We got to kind of step back and think about more creative and innovative things to do. And I'm an old man. Okay, now let's say that I put 60% debt here. Now, the 60% debt means, so I'm putting 60% debt here, and I forgot which had the higher interest rate. Who knows? It says excuse me, where's the periodic interest rate? Here, this one's we got to get over here to the post-COD period, and this second one had a much higher interest rate. So this is some kind of special concessional interest rate, development bank interest rate. And if we have less, then well, that's the debt issue. Now, in this second debt issue, we could either define it as a sculpted debt issue, or we could put its own repayment in. And when you put its own repayment in, that's a little flag here. So then you could define the repayment or have it sculpted. And now when we have it sculpted, you can put option number 3. And option number 3 will say, let's just give both of these, and they both add up to 100%. And you don't know how much I've struggled with that to get, multiple debt sculpting and multiple debt sculpting in, and debt to capital in, and different repayment styles in. And if let's put 3 in again, let's put the third one in again. And when we put the third one in again, okay, then we put this one, let's sculpt that one. And then when we sculpt that, okay, remember, we're aiming for this time a DSCR of 1.2, and that gives probably too high of a thing, so let's put a 1.4, 1.5 DSCR. Let's see if the stupid thing really works. And then you go to the UDF output, and you get this 1.5 DSCR each and every period, blah, blah, blah. I've still got a couple things to do here. And then the repayment percent is exactly 100% for both of these. Okay. And I hope by now you're saying, oh, geez, maybe it's worth thinking about this. Maybe it's worth really saying, okay, there's got to be a better way than these monster things that take, and I'm not going to, well, yes, I am allowed to say how long it took just to simply run the copy and paste. And by the way, when you do this, you can use a goal seeks. You can even, why you'd ever want to make a data table of this, I have no kind of clue, but you can do that. You can change tenors, all that stuff. That's enough of an introduction, and I hope more than anything else you're saying, and I'm going to make a few more other examples of these monster models. I've seen the monster models with the multiple subs. There's a really smart man who I'm so impressed with. I'm not criticizing anybody who made some of these monster models. I'm just trying to, instead of finding some whiz bang, let's find a magic Excel thing that's going to help us solve these problems. Sometimes the problem can't be fixed by typing extra formulas and doing and putting some property and some calculate full property or something like that in there, or not using some if s's, or saying the offset function is a volatile function. No, reduce the number of formulas. Okay, so here, now that might be kind of overdoing it. Now, I've struggled with this. I have really struggled with this myself. And I guess I'm going to show you the web page, but it's really, it's not finished, where I'll put this stuff in. And here I go to this solving, no, that's suite of solutions. Now, here, in this one, where is the one? Just a minute. It says COD issues, multiple debt issues, not that one. Solving this one. Here, UDS for simple IDC. If you've got a simple kind of IDC problem, my suggestion, and I tried to put this stuff here, you've just got one debt issue, and you've got, for some reason, only IDC. You could so easily add commitment fees, upfront fees, and then start DSRA a little harder, okay? You make a function. You first have to, it's a pain. It's really a pain. You kind of, you're going to make you might want to make an output. And the problem with IDC, it's got a memory. You have the opening balance depending on the closing balance. But what you can do is copy these things out, make your own little function. That's all. And then it works through and shows how to do it. So my point here, I gotta learn how to do this so you can see those things on the top, right? Okay, my point here is that you don't have to make it this enormous. It's almost my monster model. I hate it. But the monster model, it's like fighting the other monster model. Okay, all right, whatever. What kind of crap? Then, I argue, and please, it's not ready, that there's a suite. There's no, copy. The word copy and paste is so. Can you imagine? Oh, you did is copy paste. Oh, yeah, that's. Now, I'm not talking about a macro. I'm talking about if you're copying and pasting a document or something. That's like a snide kind of thing to say, but it's not so bad. You can if you do it right, and if you don't, please. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I cry way too much, but this stuff does get me a little emotional. Please don't put the please don't get too fancy. Put the solver, page in and put the copy and paste in one page, move it over to the other page. You might have to save some solver, some copy pasted solutions. That's pretty good. But please, it's not that hard if you set up a sources and uses and then a cash flow really nicely, because basically the fundamental circular references are from the funding, right? The IDC, DSRA, and commitment fees and upfront fees, all that stuff that can be solved in one little thing with up there in the sources and uses, and then you have the tax problems with the sculpting. Maybe, maybe not, and then it gets really messy if. Again, that's where the models start getting to monster models. If you have P50 and P90 or maximum debt to capital, and you have to redo the whole thing. And that's why you use that UDF, because it really can help. And then you can, I work through a really, really simple UDF. And I guess I'm going to, do I have to find, I'm not going to find it right now. It's kind of, I'm putting it right here. I'm putting it here. And yeah, let me just explain it from here. And when you have a really, really simple circular reference that doesn't have any memory, like you don't have the opening balance causing a circular reference from the prior year, like the IDC or the commitment fees, well, you have to compute the whole thing over the whole length of the construction period, and then you got to get one. If it's over the whole length, that creates a pain in the UDF. But you've got to stop being intimidated. And the real philosophy here is that you try it, and today I had such pain. I had such pain in making a goal seek UDF. I thought it would be so easy. What a woof. But if you have something real simple, really simple, it's almost like a do while. But then you always you have to get the stuff in. You have to go around the formulas. You cannot use any range names or anything else. You have to read them in, do the formulas, and then up here, fees were down at the bottom, and fees were what were defined, and then fees were up here at the top, and then we have to go around and around and around. And the way we go around and around, we can use a do while, for, next, while, and whatever you want to use. But in this case, you go around and around until that difference between the last increment, that's the last time you computed fees, up here, which was 0, you go around, you compute the fees, and then you say, well, what's the last time versus what you just computed here? And then if that difference is not equal to 0, you keep going around and around, just like a copy paste. That's the basic idea. And then once you've done that, well, I have to put these in. The places that it might help most is to do something like this. The most I remember, it was 19, let me see, 89, 86. Barry Sabloff. I remember the guy's name. He must be dead now. We had Alcar, we had some program at the bank, and he talked about this circular reference where the interest you pay depends on the the average if you compute the interest on an average rate, well, the interest depends on the cash flow. The cash flow depends on the interest. And you have a circular reference, and you have that with a cash flow sweep when you're using average. Whenever you use average interest, and those are really easy to solve. But then you get into this one. You get into this thing I just talked about. Look, I made a picture of it, but I didn't talk about it. Okay. And finally, and if you really, my dream, I really feel like maybe they're right. Maybe I'm losing it. Maybe I'm losing my mind. But my dream is before I finish, before I go away, I want to make some real courses. I want to get this out there. I want to show you that it can really work. Now, the final thing is refinancing. And again, refinancing is a wonderful issue. It really is. You can, it changes the game. In this case, where were we? We have this potential for refinancing. And remember, I said, okay, let's put the debt to capital in here, and then let's put the number one. Let's make it number one. And then then you know what happened, by the way. Look at me losing my voice practically because I'm so excited. I'm so excited because this all worked. The sources and uses balance, the IDC was all recomputed, and you just plop this in. You just make a little thing where you plop this in. Do we have this? I can't show you all that. We have a little button. A button where you say, plop it in, put this in. Forget the rest of the copy paste. You do that. I'm more radical. I'm really radical. I don't give a crap about the auditors. I had to do my own audit. Oh God. No, not an audit of my own, of somebody else's. What? This is about the most unrewarding work you could ever do. Okay. Whatever. Okay. I can't. Now, if we did this versus doing this one, okay, the second one, oh no, it's taking too long. That's not taking really very long to compute. It's still 100%. And now, if we look at our DSCR, I hope our DSCR is flat. Yeah, it's flat. The damn thing worked. Okay, now, where was I? If we put this, let's put this DSCR down to be 1.2. And let's say that, let's put an 80% debt in. Can you imagine with a monster model if you started changing these things, pressing the buttons, and even being able to look at all these different options with sculpting, non-sculpting, two different debt issues, sculpted, not. Can you imagine that? Can you just try to imagine what a pain this would be? There's our sculpted, and now we're going to repay it early, and I should have put 60% debt in, okay? And again, so, this is very bad, okay? And this isn't even a problem. This is not even a problem, and I'll tell you why it's not even a problem, because I put a fixed debt issue up here in debt issue 2 for a longer term. So this is actually working, but I don't like it, okay? I'm going to put it a little bit differently. And actually, I'm going to just, for now, make it one debt issue, just so you can get the idea. And my idea now is for refinancing. And here's my idea. I had a wonderful little class in Thailand. And this really nice lady said, okay, please tell us about what we can do when the IRR is really low, like this. And IRR, when I try to scare the crap out of the whole class and say, oh no, you're not going to get a good IRR. Don't Even if you think right now you're going to get an IRR, people are going to come in. They're going to push the IRRs. I've heard stories of IRRs being, I can't even believe this, but somebody said 4%. How about 4%? Equity IRR. What can you do? Oh, no. Well, you can sell the project early, or you can refinance, or maybe do a little bit of both. You can get other investors in. There are all these interesting strategies. Try to get yourself a development fee and get the heck out. Those kind of things. Now, that means we got to put refinancing in. And then, okay, now we're at the monster model. Ha ha! Oh, let's just give this to some Excel bureaucrat who's going to be able to throw that in there, get it all balanced, get the balance sheet balancing, and get the ecstasy from balancing the balance sheet. Oh, that feels so great. Screw it. Why don't you put the new sheet? Why don't you take, and by the way, there's a circular reference for refinancing. There is a circular reference for refinancing, and I'm just trying to make you think right now. For the circular reference for refinancing, why don't you think about this? Put an extra new sheet in called the refinancing sheet. Take all the cash flows and the debt balances from the original stuff. Put 5 different new refinancing issues in, and you're going to have a circular reference because you're going to size the debt from the DSCR, and a new debt is going to create a new interest. The new interest is going to create a new taxes. The new taxes creating a new CFADS. The CFADS drives the debt. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Good. Ah! The Excel bureaucrats say, oh, let's put that in. Let's double the size of our model. Let's put all of that stuff in. Instead, add a new sheet, put this in, make a UDF for the circular reference, a totally independent. You could add as many UDFs as you want. This is the sum function. It's like a sum function. You can add as many as you want, and it's like a sum function. You can adjust and manipulate and do all you want. It's like WordPress. I give you this function, and I swear I've given you it. Who knows? God, I give everything. But you got to maybe take a class to really learn how this really works, okay? Then you're going to have another refinancing function, another sum if function, whatever. 2 different sum functions, a sum function and an average function. How's that? 1 sum, 1 average. 1 UDF for the first financing, another UDF for the refinancing, put it in a separate page, put 10 different refinancings, 5, do the same kind of thing we just did, and you don't have to double the size of your model. And I've ranted, and I didn't get to what I wanted to get to, but what the heck? Where am I? Did I record this? I hope I recorded this. It's only 30 minutes.